Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome again to Coffee and Art in the Morning. I'm Dee Dee, running up and down the stairs to get coffee, out of breath. And already did one little video this morning just to announce I'm right at the verge of having 1,000 subbies on YouTube and almost 1,000 here on Ustream as well. And so to celebrate the 1,000, I'm going to give away two Molaskinas Molies. One's a travel one and one's a fitness one. This is actually the fitness one. And then a travel one. It has all different countries like embossed on it. So got something on there right there. They're brand new. And I am going to give these away on two of the giveaways. I'm going to actually give away three giveaways. I'm going to give away these two and then a book that will fit whoever wins. So I don't know who will win the third drawing. And so we're going to do that probably next week. So what you need to do is leave a comment, subscribe, of course, and leave a comment on my YouTube channel. All you have to say is, I watch, or something like that, just so that your name is there. And then I'm going to print out all the people that entered, and I'll cut up little strips and we'll put them in a bowl, mix it up, and we'll draw three names. So that will be probably, I'm hoping we'll get there by next Monday, and then I can do the drawing then. So we'll see. So just on the video that has, it will say 1,000 subby giveaway, not this video. Don't leave the comment on this one. Of course, leave a comment on this one too, but leave a comment on the one that has everybody, that one. Yeah, you'll see when I put the names on. Okay. Anyway, moving on. All right. So what we're going to do, if y'all remember last drawing, of course you didn't forget because y'all did a wonderful job. Everybody that drew Amelia. And what I did on that one is I left y'all a little outline sketch to color in Amelia. I now want to look at y'all because I've already did the video where I'm staring at y'all. Now I can't look you in the eye. And anyway, so everybody did such a great job, and everybody that participated, I think, were really happy with the results they got. And so thanks everybody for playing along, and y'all did amazing. Everybody that tweeted it, Facebooked it, or wherever they showed it, it was so awesome. Everybody, I hope y'all impressed yourselves. I really do. I hope you impressed yourselves to see how well you could draw with color pencil. And so now we're going to do another drawing of our Darcy UK. Now, and Carrie brought this up. It is washed out. I mean, the printout here it's not vibrant, and this is just for the purpose of doing a grid from. So I purposely muted some of the color down before I printed it out, so that we're just going to concentrate on the drawing today by a grid. And thank you, Juriaan J. I just call him Jay, for being here. And if anybody has any extra artistic questions while I'm showing this, feel free to ask politely Jay some art questions, and he will give you some art tips. Okay, so anyway, so this is just on copy paper. Hang on, guys, I froze for just a second. There we go. This is just on copy paper, just for the purpose of gridding it out, okay? And when you go to actually do the coloring with the color pencils, you either need to be looking at her photograph on my blog, or her photograph is on her blog as well, art-and-soul, SOLE.blogspot.com, and look at the actual picture of her. I'll look at her on my iPad while I'm drawing her, while I'm coloring her. Okay, but for the purpose of what we're going to do today, and just making a grid and showing you how to use a grid, it's just on a piece of copy paper. And the color isn't as important as just being able to have a crisp, clear, sharp focus to draw from. Okay, does that make sense, everybody? I know that, I go like this to tell something. Okay, so let me move this out of the way. a couple other things real quick before we get, well, you know what? I think we'll do the Happy Mail. I've got Happy Mail. Maybe I'll do a separate video for that. And books. I got 2 new books and Happy Mail. So I think what I'll do is after this show, I'll separate out the Happy Mail because I got quite a bit of things to show in Happy Mail and I got a new magazine and a new book. Okay, so we'll do that. And I got to read a letter from Mystery Carol. What else do I have here? Okay, I think that's what we'll do. We'll do a separate video for all that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, and her hair, let me see if I can show you on the iPad. It'll probably flash out the camera a little bit, but we'll give it a shot here. And I'll show you the picture, the actual photograph. All you have to do is go to my blog. If y'all are watching the recording, her photograph is on Inkiwell, INKIWELL.blogspot.com. That's my blog, and so you'll find her picture there to print out. Darcy has kindly allowed us to use her wonderfulness of self to draw from. Let me see, where is she? Here we go. Okay, so look how red her hair is. Okay, so here's the color, how the color really looks on Darcy. And like I said, this is just muted out just for the purpose of drawing on the grid. Okay, so all right, so first off, what we're going to get started doing is the grid itself. I wanted this to be very simple, and it really is. It really is very simple to do. All right, so you have your picture. Now we're going to do it again on tone paper. So whatever tone paper you have, and this time it doesn't have to fit through your printer. So if you want it a little bigger or whatever size you want it, you can do that because it's going to just, you can print this out as big, as small as you want, and then you can use a different size paper. I went with 9 by 10. It's a little, I think that's what it is, or is it 9 by 11? What did I decide on here? Yeah, well, yeah, it's about a 9 by 12, but I'm only going to concentrate right there in the middle anyway. So just as long as she fits on your page. All right, so what we're going to do, let me move this. This is my focus stuff here to keep the camera in focus. Now, to do the grid, what I want you to do is just take a sheet protector, just a plain sheet protector like this. Now, if your picture will fit in the page protector, that's fine too. But if you want to kind of shuffle it around and get it right where you want, I just recommend just cutting this. Just, and this is kind of like, you can't really see because of all my desk. I need to put a new paper on my desk. Okay, so what we're going to do is just cut the page protector down just to have it, as long as it, you know, will fit over your, whatever you're doing. You could also do this with one of the big 12 by 12 page protectors, but most people have one of these and they may not have a 12 by 12, which that's fine because as long as it will fit over completely what you're doing. Okay, I know it's hard to see. Okay, as long as it'll fit over your what you're drawing. So what I want you to do is take your Sharpie and your ruler. Okay, now if you want, let me see. Oh, what would be? Looking for a different ruler here. Let's see how wide this one is. Okay, yeah, I'm going to use this one because it's pretty much right at an inch. Okay, so whatever ruler you use, to me, this is the easiest way. It's not so important that you get it exactly 1 inch. All it has to do is everything be the same. So if your ruler is like a little bit bigger than 1 inch, or if it's exactly 1 inch, it doesn't matter as long as your grids are going to be the same in this case. Now, when you do a grid, if y'all have any questions, put them in caps. If you're going to draw Darcy and you want her a bigger picture, like if you wanted to put her on a, you know, poster, okay? If you had a grid over her face of 1 inch, then you would almost like at least double it to 2 inches to make the picture expand. If you wanted to draw her smaller, then if you're 1 inch grid, then you could make your paper like a 1/2 inch grid. And I hope this is making sense. I'm trying to keep it as easy as possible. What we're going to do is have 1 inch on her and 1 inch on the drawing. So it's going to be the same size. So we're not going to enlarge or shrink down Darcy. We're going to keep her the same size. So to do that, all you have to do is just have your grids the same size. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start, I'm going to lay this out with my Sharpie. I don't want it, you don't want it to move. I'm just going to use my ruler as the guide. Okay, I'm just going to use the ruler as the guide to make my grid. And it will kind of slide around, so just, you know, I don't expect you to have to do this right along with me, because I know, you know, that's pretty kind of hard to do, but you can watch the recording. Okay, so you just make a grid like this, and until the Sharpie dries. Now you don't want to smear it, but Sharpie's the easiest thing to go over the top of your plastic. Okay, then you do the same thing. Okay, I'm just going to make a little bit of a, let's see, I want to make this sure it's squared up here. Okay, let me get it on here. I'm using my background paper, okay, to see it, see the grid. Okay, so there'll just be a little bit of an edge at the top, so we have something to work with. And then you can just use the grid itself to line up, you know, continuously line up. All right, oh, see, I messed that up. Hang on, let me wipe it off. It's still wet, we can wipe it off. Where's my baby? I moved it, I moved the grid. Yeah, you have to be able to see the grid. See, what you're going to do with this, Miko, and anybody else, is you're going to lay this piece of plastic over Darcy. That's what you're going to do, and that's why you have to have it plastic. All right, let me get back up here. That's why you have to have it plastic, so you can see it. But, you know, there's probably all kinds of tutorials on gridding and how to make grids and everything on YouTube. So, you know, this is not going to be like the definitive how to. I just want y'all to be able to draw Darcy out, and then we're going to color pencil like we did Amelia. Hey, Mandy. Anybody else that's popped in? And just get, you know, try to get as many as you can on your sheet, because you just want to make sure you can cover the whole face. All right, so then what you want to do is this will be line 1, down and across here. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then down there's 9 if I need it. Then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and however many you can get on there. This is enough to cover her. Okay, I mean, if this was a bigger picture, we'd have to have a bigger grid. Take a sip of coffee here. Morning, Paul, and anybody else coming in? All right, so now what you got to do is come over to your paper. Now I got kind of some Sharpie marks on that one. Let me turn it over here. And you will not be able to probably see this very well. I probably need to do it twice. I need to do it so that you can see it. So let me go ahead and do it a little darker. Now, when you're doing yours, let me find a kind of a, I don't want a pencil that won't erase, but I want probably a 2B. Hang on, Aura. 2B or not 2B. Okay, let me go with this. All right, let me sharpen it. One moment, please. All right, so what you want to do now is take your same ruler. Oh, good grief, I dropped it in the trash can. Well, let me get another one. I'll have to dig it out after a while. Let me get another pencil. Hang on, guys. So what you want to do is the same exact size. Okay, so I'm going to use the same ruler to use as a kind of like side to side to draw this in. All right, so again, I'm just going to leave a little tiny bit of an edge here just so I can have room to number. Now, again, you want to have yours as light as possible. All right, so I'm doing mine a little darker, and I might have to do it twice if I can't erase this. So we'll see, but I'm going to do it dark just for today so that you can see it. All right, and then the same thing, you just do it, but real light with your pencil, just as long as you can see the grid, because you're going to have to erase this whole grid. All these lines you're going to have to erase after you draw Darcy. So you don't want it to be as dark as what I'm showing you right now. Okay, let me check for any questions. We're good? Okay. All right, so don't do it this dark. I'm doing it so it shows up on camera, okay? You want to just barely see the lines so that you don't have a problem erasing it, because this is going to be your final piece. All right, again, I'm going to leave just a little bit at the top to have room to write the numbers. Okay. All right. All right, does anybody, let me look and see, does anybody have any questions, or does this make sense so far? Because what you're going to be doing is overlaying your grid over Darcy and drawing what's in those grids over here. Now, if you remember on Amelia, the picture that you started with Amelia, there's very few lines. We're not going to draw a portrait in pencil of Darcy. You want the minimum amount of lines just to have a reference to do the color pencil work, okay? Now you can, if you wanted to, print her out, say in black and white, and do a pencil drawing of her if you wanted to, but that's not what we're going to be doing with our Darcy. Okay. All right, so I don't see any. Let me make sure my chat's scrolly here. No, yeah, I'm not expecting everybody to work along, Jean, because, I am recording, and so, you can kind of see the whole process. Okay, so there's 1, 2, again, write these very lightly. I'm writing them dark so you can see it, and so these probably won't erase very well for me, so I might have to do it again, which is fine, but I want you to be able to see this, and this will be a good example, too, for future if we, needed to readdress how to do this. Okay? All right. Now, the main thing that you need to do after you've made your grid, you've got your plastic one, and you've got the one you're actually going to do the picture on. The main thing you have to remember to do is tape this down. All right? Now, it doesn't really matter where it is, because you're going to follow whatever numbers are there. Now, I'm not going to want her head right there, okay? You have to think about where you're going to want your picture. If you're going to want her like sort of centered right there, all right, put the picture kind of, and I'm going to add hair at the top. I'm going to draw at the top of her head. I'm not going to leave her, cut off right there. So what you want to do is then try to, match your grid up here, kind of where you want your picture. So your overlay will kind of overlay your grid. You know what I mean, Vern? Can you see how that's overlaying on top? But make sure Darcy is where you're going to want her. In other words, lay your photo, your copy right, kind of centered it, or wherever you're going to want her. If you want to tilt her head, it doesn't matter what you want to do, as long as it's right where you want it. Okay, and then you can overlay this to see exactly where it is. Now, once you overlay your clear piece on top of here, one thing I always recommend is do not have the grid cut through the middle of the eye. So if you need to adjust it, don't have the grid cut right through the eye, because you want to be able to have a clear vision of the iris and the eye as far as drawing it, the detail of that. And if you have a line right through the eye like that, it's going to be hard to follow. So it's best, I have found, that you do not have your picture lined up on the grid with the grid like going right through the pupils. So what I'll do is I'll get the grid kind of lined up right where I want it. You've kind of got her centered on the page. And then once you have that lined up, then match up your grid underneath, you know, like that. Okay. And then you will tape down your plastic. That's why I left this white edge here and I printed it out sideways. It doesn't matter how you print it out, sideways or straight, you know, horizontal or vertical, you get the whole picture in there, but you want to have some room to tape. Okay, because once you start drawing, you do not want, now I'm not taping it to this. I'm just taping the overlay to my where I'm going to draw. You do not want that to move. You don't want that to be shuffling around because then your drawing will be cattywampus. Okay. You could use a light box bond. You could use tracing paper, carbon paper. There's lots of different ways you can do it. But today, Vaughn, we're doing the grid method. I love you, Vaughn. Okay, so I'm going to tape it a couple of places so it's not shifting around. All right. Yes, Fawn, there's many ways that you can draw, but today we're doing the grid map. For those of y'all watching the recording, in case you don't know, this is a live show with a live people in a live wild audience. So just saying. Okay, so now you can see that she is gridded and taped down. All right. And you see how she's not right up at the number one. She's not right up here at the very top line. Okay, we've brought it down so that when we look at this and transfer from this to this, we're not putting her head right up there off the edge. So I hope that makes sense. Do you see how the grid has come down? And you don't have to have yours exactly where mine is. Just saying. You do not have to have Darcy's face exactly where mine is. The important thing to remember is this is 1 inch to 1 inch. That will transfer the exact size. If you want to draw her face bigger, then these grids would be bigger. If you want to draw her smaller, this would be smaller. Yes, I did. I deliberately printed it out without the sharp color. Again, let me show you the picture of how her red her hair is, which we'll get to on the next show. Okay. There's our redheaded Darcy. And see, I printed it out like sepia or something like that. I forget what the setting was, but I just printed it out with less color and sharpened it so that you could see it. But that's a good question, Kia. Yes. All right, so now, and again, I'm going to draw the whole thing much darker so that you can see it on camera. Then for when we go to color it, I'll do it again. I'll regrid it exactly like this, but I'll do it lightly so that it's not going to be a problem. All right, but you want to draw it as light as you can, as long as you can see it. All right, so any questions so far? So what you do, put them in caps, and also if y'all have any other, you can also, hey Barb, and anybody else popping in, if Juriaan J is here, he can also answer questions for you. Okay? Yes, you don't have to follow along with me right now. I'm recording. And then after I do this, we're going to stop the recording and do some other things too, some happy mail and whatnot. So can you hear I'm getting the serious voice? I always do that when I'm trying to explain something. I get all serious, and I'm really not, you know. But I want it to be successful for you guys, so I kind of sometimes over-explain. Yes, yes, I know that. Oh, and by the way, Barb is here, Barb Owen, and I did, Barb. I don't know if you saw it, but I Facebooked your site out. I Facebooked you, linked your site on Facebook so that everybody could see your new site. Barb has got, and links should be open. Let me make sure here. Yeah, one of the girls opened the links. Barb's got her site up and running, and she's got all kinds of videos on there. Yes, it got the teacher voice, right? Right, Jean? All right, so what you want to do now, and I'm sure some of you might have seen these in like back in the day, they used to have little things like this even in our local newspaper where they'd have a little cartoon drawing and you'd have to transfer this square to that square and they were jumbled up and so you had to put like the right number in it. But you don't have to do all that here. You just have to follow it exactly. All right. So here is, my line 2. Now you don't have to have it lined up like that. I'm just kind of showing it to you so you can see it easily. All right. Now what you want to do is find, for instance, let's just start at the very top point of her head right there just to get started. It is at the 3 and the 2. So right here is where we're going to start the drawing. Now, granted, we are going to just invent the top of her head right there because it's kind of chopped off, but we're going to go this way. All right. So what you want to do is start with the 2 and the 3, and then right, it's just a little bit below that. Let me zoom in a little bit, guys. I think I need to zoom in. Let's do this. Let me re-autofocus. Hang on. Now that you saw how to do the grid, hopefully that's clear enough for you. All right. Yeah, that may be too close. We'll get started this way, then I'll have to back out. Okay, because you can't see the numbers or anything. How's that, guys? All right. All right, so let's get our line back up here. Whoops. I'm so zoomed in, I'm trying to look at the camera. I got to zoom out one, guys, because I can't follow it on screen. There we go. Okay. I think that's good. All right. All right, so here is line 3 and right below 2. So right below 2 is where her hair starts to come over this way. All right, I'm going to try to follow with my finger here and my pencil here. All right, now you keep an eraser handy because you might think, oh, I went too, that one's too far out, whatever. Then just erase. Again, don't do it dark like I'm doing. I'm doing this dark for the purpose of the camera. Do not do it this dark. I can't stress that enough because you're going to have to erase every bit of this grid. Okay, and you also don't want a heavy graphite when you go to do color pencil. All right. All right, so what you're going to do is just look where the hairline is and take your time. I'm probably going to do it a little faster here than you would do at home. You're going to do yourself. And again, you don't want to draw every eyebrow hair or anything like that. Hang on, guys. Okay. You don't want to draw every little hair. You'll do that with the color pencil. I don't know, I just got a tickle in my throat. You just want the basic outline. The basic outline. Okay. All right, so now here's her glasses are down here. And they start and they cut across. And they go all the way across just to right about, you just have to kind of look. You have to kind of compare the line and see where the line is. And it does take a little time if you're not used to doing this. Or if you're not used to drawing, correct proportions. Okay, so sorry guys, I just got a terrible tickle in my throat. And so you're gonna, and sometimes it's easier to look at, like for instance, here's her glasses. All right, so there's where the glasses are right there. It's probably maybe about a third or so, just to give you all an example. Okay, so let's just say the middle of the glasses in there. All right, now what you want to do is go look at the next, just kind of keep looking ahead so you can see where the next place is, like right over here. Okay, on the top of her glasses, because her glasses kind of go this way. They're not straight across. And so then you can kind of just connect those lines. So what you're doing is looking ahead where you're going. All right, is this making sense? I need some feedback. Hey, Julie. I need some feedback on if y'all are getting this. Or if I'm not explaining it well, if I'm going too fast. other than the tickle in the throat. Okay, is everybody getting the dealio here, how this is working? It makes sense? Okay, thanks. You're following along. Okay, thank you. So basically all you're doing is transferring the line, and just stick with the main lines. Don't start shading and all that. We're going to do all that with color pencil. Believe me, the less graphite you have on here, the better. And again, I'm doing this dark just for the sake of the camera. All right, so now I'm going to get the outer edge of her glasses here. Okay, her outer edge of her glasses. And you just continuously, you really only want the outline. You're just, and you can take your time. I'm going a little fast here. You don't have to go, this fast. You can take your time. Okay, this is the outer edge of her glasses. The inner part of her glasses comes up like right here. So I want you just to do the minimum. And you can kind of, if you need a little sketchy like that to, kind of get it like kind of sketched in, that's fine. But then make sure you end up with just the barest outline that you possibly need. Okay, try to keep it as little graphite as possible. So there's the inside of our glasses right there. And just continuously look at your I don't know why I got a tickle. Let's take another sip of coffee. All right. Maybe I should just draw and not talk. Okay, and you don't have to necessarily start with the glasses. You can do the whole outline of her face. Maybe that will be easier for you. I'm just kind of trying to show you some more of the complicated part so that you can see how it works. Okay, I got that little 2 in there like that. Hey there, Moomy. Okay. And this will just help you to have your outline. Most of the work we're going to do is going to be with the color pencil, just like it was. You started out with a very minimum outline on Amelia. And then when you get done, if you notice that your lines are not really straight on the glasses and all that, just take your time. Go back and take your time. I'm just trying to get it blocked in for you so you can see it on camera. All right, now look at her faces on the inside of the glasses. A lot of people, when you're just free drawing, without any kind of grid or anything, you have to really notice these kind of things because her face is on the inside. Now, if she doesn't really have any in this case. What do you call it, glare on the glasses, but you have to be aware of that too. Now let me show you this right here. Because of the way her glasses are, her face is like a little bit distorted because of the glasses right there. I'm not going to distort her face there. I'm going to connect her face right there. Okay, that's that's just me. I'm going to just connect. I'm going to connect where her face goes. I'm not going to leave it look like her face was not. And again, when you look at your grid and look at this, don't necessarily, when you do your grid, don't say, oh, Dee Dee's glasses start right there at 5. Don't look at my grid because your grid is going to be a little different depending on where you place your grid. So don't go off with mine. Don't go say, oh, Dee Dee's glasses start there at 5. I guarantee you when you put your grid there, yours will not. Okay, I sounded like I'm really mad. I'm not mad. I just get it like I wanted to just explain it so well to you guys. So make sure you're following your grid, not my grid. I mean, not my what I'm drawing on my grid. Okay. Is Jay still here? Jay, you got any tips you want to share? Sorry, guys. I just don't know why my throat just got a big tickle in it all of a sudden. And when we get done here, I will be, I'm going to want to uh, have as least amount of graphite too. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm drawing this really dark for you guys. My get your attention, boys. Yeah. All right. Now see how that little bit of her chin cut through just that little corner right there, and then it comes down here. And you'll want to use a thinner pencil than this. I'm using a thick pencil so you see it on camera. And then her face does go back up into her hair in the shadows. So we'll have her hair just kind of comes out this way here. I'll stay in camera here. And again, take your time. You'll have a few days, if not maybe a week. We might not even get back to the coloring part for a week. So you'll have plenty of time to take your time and do this, okay? Right now I'm just kind of sketching out her hair, a little bit there. Just kind of following. It doesn't really matter whatever's easiest for you where you want to go with your starting and stopping points. All right? And she just has a few wisps there. Her hair kind of sweeps over that way. Now let me go ahead and get the top of her head drawn here. All right. All right, so here is her hairline. Here's her. Get over here. And I'm just going to just draw a sort of, just a little bit of a hair because her head's cut off right there in the photograph. Hey, Dixie, and anybody else popping in? After I do this episode here, I got some happy mail and some little other things to, I'll do that as a separate video. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go back down here with her glasses or in here. All right, now her eye, I gotta sharpen my pencil. Even for showing on camera, I'm not sharpening enough there. All right, let me get this sharpener. Again, I'm using a dark pencil for camera. You do not want this dark because you're going to have to erase it all. All right, so now I'm going to get in here and the bottom of her eyelid comes, let's get that part of the glasses drawn in right there. Her eye comes right there, her other eye. So her actual iris is touching the top of her glasses. Okay. And her eye comes down there. And this is you just got to kind of look at it real careful and take your time. You can just indicate a couple eyelashes there. Don't add too much detail because I'm telling you, you're not going to want a bunch of graphite. You're not going to want a bunch of graphite on this when you go to add color pencil. It will be annoying. All right. Her eyebrow is, and I'm looking at the grid here. Look, her eyebrow is like right in the middle of this point here. Don't ignore your grid because that's your map. Your grid is your map. Yeah, your grid is your map. So if you don't follow it, it's not going to look like her. You got to go with the grid. Okay, so over on this side, the top of her eyelid, you can kind of see it over there underneath this eyebrow. Don't draw things that aren't there. If you don't see where the top of this is or that is, or don't draw it if it's not there, because you're just making it up. You don't want to make it up. You want to draw exactly what you're seeing there. All right, so that eyelid. She has a few little eyelashes there. Don't get crazy with the detail, because that'll all be done with the color. All right, you see how it's matched up to the grid there? Can you see that? Now, granted, my pencil is making it look a little off because it's thick. You don't need to, you're not going to be wanting to draw this thick. It's making my lines a lot thicker than they would be with just your regular pencil. Okay? Draw it very lightly and thin. All right, so now I'm going to come down to her nose here. Her nose is, make sure I'm still in camera. Her little nostril is right there. And take your time. There's no rush. Okay, I'm rushing through it. Don't rush through it. Don't have to draw it this fast. Take your time. Just a little nose line, just a little cheek is right there, a little dimple. Take your time. And then she does have a shadow like coming up right there. I'm just going to kind of indicate that shadow in her nostril right here. And she has her nose ring right there. Okay. She's got a little shadow right there. I'm trying not to, I want you to draw as little as possible because it'll all come together with the color pencil. Okay, that needs to be a little. All right, now come down here where her lips are, and you just got to really take your time and look right where the line, where it is. Comes up, her little smile ends up right about there. And just take your time. And draw it with a thin pencil. You'll get much more detail if you're drawing it with a thin pencil, not this big thick thing. Like I said, I'm just doing this for the purpose of the camera. Okay. All right, any questions or anything so far, guys? Just got her little lip ring right there. It may not look a lot like her because this is just an outline. Trust me, when you start with the color pencil, you will notice how much it looks like her. Yeah, it's all you want is the shape. And again, guys, looking at it in my camera, this is so thick. You do not want it this thick. I can't stress that enough. Okay, I'm doing this for the camera's sake. I will redraw it thin, lightly for you. I'll redraw it lightly. But I just want to show you how to do this, how to follow a grid. Okay. All right, so over here we got her hair comes around this way. Got her curls right there. Her neck. You see a little bit of her neck right here. Yes, this is rushing. I'm rushing through this. Okay. And again, it's very, very thick. So you just got to you'll just have to work with it. And again, she looks like she doesn't have any eyes, but we're going to color all that in with color pencil. All right. Just get it just get it gridded out. All right. So you get the idea? See how the face line, you can follow it right there? Okay, I think her chin needs to come down just a little bit right there. And you just keep working with it. Don't get in a hurry. Like I'm getting in a hurry. Yeah, and just kind of, okay, any questions or anything right for now? Well, I do have to say, guys, when you draw it yourself, you will see when you draw it lightly, and like I said, I'll redraw it again lightly so that you can see, because I'm not happy with drawing it thick, but I don't know any other way for you to see it on camera with a thick pencil, you know. I want y'all to be able to see it, and I'm just not, and I don't know any other way for you to see it without. Because you got to get those little thin lines on the lips and the smile. You just can't get that with a thick pencil, which is I'm trying to do. So I will redraw it on the grid with a light pencil, even though you can't really see it on camera. All right. Okay. So you just keep doing that. And then, like, for instance, right here, you just kind of see a swirl of a hair. You don't have to do a lot with the hair right now because you're going to cover almost all of it up with paint. You know, so you just really, and you just really want an outline of everything. You just pretty much want the outline. All right. See, don't use this. Don't use this pencil. All right, any questions? I'm trying to get it kind of both there. And so you don't see her face kind of ends in a shadow there. You can kind of draw that shadow a little bit. Not don't overdo here. Just so you can get a direction. Well, it's okay for a thick drawing. Like I said, I'm drawing it extra dark for you guys, but when I'm drawing it for myself, for instance, this right here, let me just erase the whole thing where I can just barely see it. Okay, would be done with, where's my real girl? See, I usually draw with something this thin, but you won't be able to see that on camera. See? Yeah, exactly, Jay. Yeah, Jay said you can draw out the shadows. And yes, you can indicate them, but we're going to be, you want to know where you're going, but we're going to be going over this with color pencil. And if you get it too graphite-y, what we're going to do after this, I'm trying to take it step by step. And remember, I'm not a teacher. What we're going to do is after you get your very thin line with your pencil, we're going to use the sepia or your light, um, like we did the same look that we had with uh, Amelia, so that you have you're drawing with a color. You're going to get rid of all your graphite look because you don't want to be worried about covering up graphite with color pencil. I'm telling you, you will smear you do not want any graphite on your picture by the time you go to color pencil. So after you get your grid pencil done in the thin pencil. I mean, look how thin that is. You can't even hardly see it. This is what you want. This is what you want done. And again, I'll redo another copy of it so you can compare, see the difference. But you won't see me doing this if I did it so light. The reason you want to do it light is for a couple reasons. One, you have to erase all this grid. All this grid is going to have to be erased. That's number one. Number two is if you want a very thin line where you're going to go over it with sepia. Now, the glasses, if you want to do that in a light gray or something like that, where's a light gray? You can use a light gray for the glasses, and then sepia for everything, the hair and her face and her lips and everything. But keep it just to that. Just keep it, just remember how Amelia looked. It was just in sepia when you started. Okay, if you can draw, you will have... No, Mandy, I want y'all to draw it yourself this time. I really do. Because if I put up the drawing like I did of Amelia, everybody just print it out. I don't want you to do that. I want you to learn how to do this. Okay, and Jay's giving y'all tips along the way too. They scroll off pretty fast. Okay. Here's the thing about an electric eraser. I do not recommend that. You're going to be digging into the paper. One of the things about doing color pencil is you want to keep the integrity of your paper as much as possible. If you start using an electric eraser and digging out your paper, that's taking off a layer that you could be using with color pencil. I mean, you can if that's the only way you can do it. I just don't recommend. You don't need to. Let me put it this way. You will not need an electric eraser if you're doing it lightly. Okay, let me get another paper. Let me start over. Hang on. Here's the last one that I just did in case y'all hadn't seen her. She's from my sketchy group, and I like the way she turned out. Sorry, I bumped the camera. I really like the way her eyes turned out. And this is all color pencil with acrylic paint right here and here. Everything in here is color pencil. Okay. All right, so let me get another sheet of paper here. Oops, sorry guys. Yikes, I really bumped it that time. Hang on. Really bumped it. Okay. All right, let me reiterate a little bit. You're not going to draw this dark. Okay, I'm going to show you how it would look if I was drawing it without the camera. All right, where's my rate? I mean, my ruler. All right. You don't need an electric eraser if you're drawing it this lightly, because it'll erase just fine. Miss Jean or anybody else. I'm doing it dark just for the sake y'all could see on camera. You do want your grid whoops, sorry, let me pull the camera. You do want your grid accurate because if you want the exact same size. If you want 1-to-1 size, then you want this accurate. I'm kind of rushing through again. When y'all do this, you don't have to rush. You don't have to go as fast as I'm going here. I'm doing this for the camera. All right, again, look at the difference in the darkness of the grid. Okay, her head kind of needs to come around that way, but anyway. Okay. I want to show you the difference though between the heavy pencil and a non-heavy pencil, because it looks a little distorted and it just doesn't look accurate to me because the pencil's so thick. You don't want to do that. This is just for the camera so I can show it to you guys. Okay, so let me go ahead and I'm going to lightly put my And again, there's many ways that you could do this if you don't want to just draw it. Like Jay was saying something about if you don't have a light box, you could put it up to a window if you wanted to trace an outline. You could use, if you don't have a light box, you could just use tracing paper. You could use carbon paper. You could do, there's lots of ways. But today, I just wanted to show you how to do a grid. So this isn't the only way, okay? No, not yet, Deb. I'll get there in a little while. Okay, so now I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna draw it again with thin, so you can see how this is what it would look like when you're doing it. Okay. Again, make sure you have that tape down well. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to start over again with the light pencil. All right, so let me get down here to my 3 and my 3. There's the top of her head, or her head is. Just so, and I'm going to take a little more time. I'm going to go a little slower like I would, without doing it for the camera. I want to try to squeeze in as much information as I can, and sometimes that's hard on camera. All right, here we go. Let's get the outline of her face. And again, keep your eyes focused where you're going. If your pencil's right here, be looking up there. You know what I mean, Vern? This is showing up? Okay, thanks, Carrie. If your pencil line is right here and you're headed that way, keep your eye up there. Always be looking ahead where you're going. Okay, so this is a lot of shadow right there. I'm just going to leave that for a minute. Okay. This out of the way a second. All right, so let me get back over here on our glasses. Eyebrow comes up a little. She's a little bit of a arch on her eyebrow there. You want to take your time and get your outline as accurate as you can, and take your time. Like I said, I'm trying to kind of rush through for the camera, but you do not want to rush. Take your time. Take your time. And I'm kind of doing a little bit of sketchy like line, but I would make sure and go back and have one line. I'm not going to have anything sketchy when it's done. It's kind of a little sketchy like around these corners here, but I'll go back and clean up every line and it'll just be a nice, clean pencil line. Very clean, little graphite, very little graphite. Because now that I have a thin pencil, I can get very much more sharper and more detail than I could with that thick black pencil. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. Still got that tickle in my throat, guys. I don't know. Oh, it's not that far over. I'm not looking at chat for just a second here. I want this to work for you guys, and if I try to hurry too much, it's not going to work for you. So that's why I wanted to redraw this. Any questions or anything? Okay, I want to make sure iris is nice and sharp. And the shadows are in there. You can draw a little bit of a shadow line, but try not to, the less you can get by with, the better when you go to do the color pencil, because all that will be done with the color pencil. Just kind of get you a map. All right, their glasses need to come just a little bit in here. Got them a little thick on the side. Just a little thicker. Not quite that thick on the outer edge of it. Just got a few little hairs that come down like that. All right, so let me show you the difference. See how much more detail I can get with the pen, just the white pencil? Yes, I do, like the cheap mechanical pencils. I want you to see that. All right, let me do this. See how much more detail I can get with a thin pencil? Okay, so I'm going to continue on here. Like I said, the reason I did it this way is just to show you how the grid system works. You can't draw that thick. You just can't. And but I wanted you to see how, so I want you to see it on camera. But maybe now you can see this too. Carrie said you can. It's a big difference, exactly. So if nothing else, you know to draw with a thin pencil. I mean, I've just barely, I mean, I'm so lightly, you know, and if it gets even too dark, I'll erase it with, you know, erase it as I go. Keep looking at where you want, like the corner of her mouth is right there. So I want to make sure that her little smile, she has a smirk. She has a smirk. It just makes so much difference when you can just take, you know, take your time and draw lightly. Lightly. And for and some other things too, if you're drawing you know, if you're just wanting to draw without a grid, which well, hopefully maybe we'll get to that at some point too. You want to keep in mind things like and do this while you're drawing on the grid just to train your eye. All right, so right here, look where her eye is, the edge of her iris. If you follow it straight down, it's right there. It's right there where that little dimple is. Those kind of things, if you just kind of keep your mind, you know, keep those kind of things in mind, you'll train your eye to see those things. Thanks, Vaughn. Yeah, that's why I wanted to redraw it because I wasn't happy with the thick. I mean, that's just not how I would do it. You know, I wouldn't do it that way, but I wanted to make sure it showed up on camera. And so, like for instance, here, look at her iris, where the iris ends, and follow it down, and that's where the edge of the nose is. You see, that's how you start doing proportion things. So here's her iris comes down right here. That is where the edge of her nostril is going to be. So, you know, you don't have to draw that line. I'm just saying be aware of those kinds of things. Her nose ring, it comes right down to where the corner of her eye is. I don't want to leave that line there, but I'm just kind of showing y'all. because you're going to have to erase all the griddage. And the slower you go and the more time you take, the more detail you're going to see. But just keep your lines nice and clean. And then if you have to go back and, you know, you got some sketchy lines, go back in there and erase them. Okay. And I know she looks a little weird because she doesn't have any color in her eye or any, you know, they look, you know, it looks weird when there's nothing in the eyeball. You know, keeping Jay awake in there and asking him some questions. Do you, what do you consider to I missed your question. It wasn't in caps, Deb. I'm sorry. If you have a question, put it in caps. Because I just saw Deb ask me something, but it wasn't in caps and it rolled right off. So sorry, I missed that question. And don't, like I said, don't get too crazy with the hair because we're going to, it's going to be painted in. I can't even tell some of this if it's her hair or her sweater. Just going to kind of sketch that in a little bit there. And again, this is going to be all kind of in shadow back here, so you don't really even see where her glasses end up going into her hair. You know, we'll just put that in shadow. We're not gonna make it up like, oh well, what do the edge of her glasses look like? Well, if we can't see them, we're not drawing them. We're gonna draw the shadow there. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of come around here. But again, this is all gonna be colored in pretty solidly. That's why when you go to print out, oh, and I don't know if I said this, when you go to print out, not the grid, that you can print this out in black and white. That doesn't matter. But when you go to use the color pencil, you are going to either need to print it out very high quality so you can see it really well, or you're going to have to look at your monitor to draw like from the photograph. I'm going to use my iPad to draw color from. Okay, let me pull up her picture again. See the difference here between what I'm drawing from? This is just a sepia toned printout. I left it without the color, but look how red her hair is. We're going to be doing her hair like this. So when you're coloring, when you start to color Darcy, you're going to need a good clear color picture of her. Okay? You're going to either need to look at it on your iPad, you're going to need to look on your monitor, or you're going to need to print out a good colorful picture of her. Whatever works for you to work from. Okay? Deb was asking about using Photoshop to make the grid. Well, you could print out a grid on plastic if you have the, you know, if your printer will print out a grid without smearing, or you can print it out. You can buy grids. You can buy grids already made. I'm trying to show you the cheapest, easiest way to do it is just use a page protector. But you can do whatever works. Yeah. You can print your own grid out instead of marking it out. If you can print out a thin grid. Now, don't print your grid out on your work. Don't print it out on where you're going to be working because you've got to erase all that. Okay. I don't know if that was even that would be even an issue to address. I don't know. Okay, so anyway, her little cheek comes around this way, and then there's a little more of a shadow there. And again, I would take much more time, especially around the eyes. I want to get the eyes just right. Okay, so I will take a lot more time than I'm doing here. And the glasses too. All right, so can y'all see the difference? So I wanted y'all to see the difference of drawing with a thick pencil and a thin pencil. This is what you do for the camera. This is what you really do. Okay? All right, I'm checking the chat here. You might want to keep those as examples. Yeah, I think I will. I think I'll do a third one, Carrie. And on the third one, I will erase the grid and put in sepia color, draw it in. Okay. So I will keep these and do a third one. Thanks, Joe. And welcome back, by the way. All right. So now, any questions or anything? So are we getting the idea? And you really can't get too fussy when it comes to this part. Her eyelids a little bit above her glass line there. Take your time, really get it, as accurate as you possibly can, because this is what's going to make it look like Darcy. And again, like I said, I didn't, I connected her face right there rather than put the glare of the glass, the distortion from the eyeglasses there. I mean, you could put the distortion if you want, but just take your time on this. You just can't, I can't stress that enough. Y'all did so good on Amelia. Okay. You see, she's got thick eyelashes over there. We'll be addressing that with pencil, but you want to get the main drawing in there, and as much detail as you possibly can in in line, in line. Don't, because you're going to have to go over this with your sepia, sharp sepia, and or gray. I would use gray for the glasses and sepia for everything, for the face, just for now. But you have to have your lines sharp, crisp. The more accurate, the better. Take your time on this part, guys. You'll probably have a week to do it, so take your time. Just keep working on it. Just keep looking at your grid, adjusting it. But keep looking at your grid and keep, keep at it. I mean, I'm even going fast here. This is fast even for me. Okay, so I'm just checking chat. Okay, so like her glasses are a little thinner on the end. I mean, it's a little bit more because there's a white line there. There's a white line and then an extended part of her glasses out here when you look at it in the picture. But get it all, just take your time to get it accurate. Yeah, we did Mandy's daughter. If you look on Twitter and Facebook at all the different people that drew, well, I can't show it on the iPad, it won't show up. Yeah, look at my blog, Joe. I know you're kind of out of the loop the last couple weeks. Look on my blog to see the Joe drawing, and then watch everybody's. Well, you can watch the video where we did it, and then look at everybody's end results. Everybody did an amazing job. Um, well, the thing about if you try to use a ruler for the glasses rather than just the grid, her glasses are not straight. Let's see if I can even show that on the. All right, look, let me get it right under the glasses. Look, you see how it's not, see how it dips? Look, see it goes, you see how it's not perfectly straight? I mean, you could use a ruler if you needed to get a start on it, but the grid is doing that for you. If you follow the grid, you should have from right there in the grid to right there on the grid, you'll have a nice straight line. I mean, whatever works for you guys. Like I said, I'm just trying to, yeah, okay. these are tips. These are some tips and some. Okay, I lost my place here. Okay, so yeah, they're not perfectly straight. It's just better just to try to and again, I'm gonna have to go in there and adjust them myself. I can see just by looking at it that because there's a white rim on the inside, it gives you almost two lines to work with. And you just got to just take your time and look at the grid and look at this. I'm telling you, I am speeding this way faster than I would be drawing it by myself. I would not be going this fast. I'd be taking much more time, and I want y'all to take more time too. I'm just kind of showing you the grid system, how it works. Jay, you got any more tips? Did Jay run out the back door? Ah, did Jay run out the back door? uh, all right, Jay, tell me if there's anything I missed talking about in this little demo here. If you want to address anything, I'll repeat it on Jay. Juriaan. I call him Juriaan. Some people call him Juriaan. I just call him Jay. But anyway, He is a great artist and he does YouTube, Ustreams, but he doesn't keep recordings. He just, if you're there when he's drawing, you're there when he's drawing. If you're not, then, um, but he is amazing. And so I told him that if he had any tips or anything, I asked him to stop by. And if he had any tips or anything, and he's also a teacher, he's a real teacher, a real art teacher. I'm just trying to encourage you. I always say that. I'm not a teacher. Okay, so let's see. He didn't run screaming from the room yet. Yeah, Jay, if you want to say anything about, what you do or anything like that, feel free. Jay is from the Netherlands, and I'm not going to say, where he lives and all that. I don't want y'all stalking him. But he lives in the States. Oh, thanks, Dana. You're sweet. So I'll see if Jay has anything he wants to say to add to our little bit of stuff here. But seriously, if you ever get a chance to go to his Ustream, if you don't follow him on Twitter, you probably will miss him. But he usually streams Saturday evening, well, evenings, like 5, 6, 7, sometime in that area on Saturdays. And it just, he doesn't really have a set time. So, he was 16 when he went to art school. And 5 years ago, he got his PhD. I'm telling y'all, guys, y'all just, Jay's he's a quiet one. Uh, yeah. All right. He's Saturday at 5 Pacific. So it's 8 East, 5, 6, yeah, 8 Eastern. So 8 o'clock Eastern time on Saturday nights. I'm telling you, he did a hand drawing class well, it's probably been about 3, 4 years ago now. I need to pull those out to show you. He did an amazing hand drawing your hand and different things and holding things, and I just love that class. It was so fun, and I just got so much out of it. So I'm sure if you can go to Jay's show, he will get more in depth than I'm doing here. I'm not used to really teaching you guys. I'm used to just doing and showing you my work. But Jay is awesome. He is awesome. Yeah, he has a PhD in fine art. He's a painter in the old school painter. I'll put a link to his Ustream. He has a YouTube and a blog, but I don't think he really goes. Do you do much there, Jay? If you want, Jay, put your Twitter link. Yeah, on Twitter he's Gloomy the Bear. I Let me show you my picture. I did draw Jay. Let me see. I did draw Jay. I just took a screenie of him, so it wasn't very detailed. And again, if you want, the more detail you want of a drawing, the better the picture. I'm telling you, got to have a good picture. Did I draw him in the gray book? I thought I drew him in the brown book, but let's see. Here he is. So there's our Jay. And again, this is small. This is just in the, what is it, 5.5 by 8.5. It's a small sketchbook. So you can see how big we're drawing Darcy compared to how big that is right there. Okay, so let's see what else. Yeah, so follow him. He's not on Facebook, Mom. Yeah, Jay's anti-Facebook. uh, but Jay's been around a long time, guys. I mean, I've been knowing him since Blade. I first went to Blade show 5 years ago. That's where I first saw uh, Jay. I call him Juriaan. It's if you want to go by the Juriaan, but I had a little like a little Dutch accent thing there. uh, okay. So, did I miss anything else Jay said? I wanted to address any other tips, Jay, that you have on drawing with a grid. I know, guys, there's a gazillion different ways to draw a portrait, but this is just one. I just wanted to show y'all one way that people that don't draw say, "Oh, I can't do a portrait." You're gonna have to draw it for me so I can color it in. I wanted y'all to be able to draw one for yourself. Why did you hide him so? Why did I hide him so? I haven't hidden him. AJ, he's been around. He's just a quiet one. I'm telling you. You gotta fight. He's the Viking. See his hair? That's his real hair. He's got Viking hair. So anyway, guys, but yeah. So if y'all follow Jay on Twitter, then he tweets out. But like I said, he's on Jay. Will somebody post his or Jay? Do you have your link right there for your UStream show? Again, it's UStream at 8 o'clock Eastern on Saturdays. Yeah, Jay got up early to be here. He got up at 6 a.m. He's on the West Coast. Yeah, he it was nice of him to stop by. So will somebody post his Ustream name? It's Moonlight. I just see I have all these in my favorites. I don't even have to look. I have Jay and I just click his name and there's his Ustream. You know, is it your Juriaan? Okay, so if you just go to Juriaan, Juriaan, uh, the name of his show is Moonlight something, but that's okay. As long as you just put in Juriaan in Ustream, you'll find him. But watch Twitter, guys. That's how we all find out about streamages. Okay, so there we go. I'll go ahead and since I have my little sketchbooks here again, I'll show you some of the other ones I've done for my sketchy. Here's one here. I've got tons of them. These are just my little sketches for this. If y'all have iPad or iPhone, sketchy. It's SKTCHY. What it does is everybody posts pictures of themselves. Oh, I'll show you one that somebody drew of me. Let me see. Let me put it on the iPad so you can see. I thought it was awesome. Now I'll put it on the phone. It was like monochromatic weekend, and so somebody did a let me find it here. Inspired. I love this. All right, so I only have two pictures of myself, I think. No, maybe three. No, only two. Yeah, I got three. So these are the only pictures I have of myself on my sketchy site. I just post those. A lot of people post tons and tons of pictures and stuff because that's where you get your inspiration to draw from. So one of the girls that I drew her. So this is the picture. Oh, let me get to it. This is the picture that I put on Sketchy, and this is her interpretation. I love that. I love that. Yeah, well, it all it is just photographs. Here's the other one. This picture here of me, and then here's where the girl drew me. So you just use what you're doing is you're using the pictures. So I don't know if I showed you this one. Here's the girl that I just showed you here. Where'd she go? Oh, here. Now this one I drew larger. This one I drew like as large as I'm going to draw Darcy. Okay. So what you do is people post photographs of themselves and you draw them. So there she is. That's her. And here's my drawing of her. Well, there she is there. So yeah, that's how it works. People post photographs of themselves as inspiration. Dana's there. Who else is there? I think is did Barb? No, I don't know if Barb joined or not. I saw Barb. Barb's on Instagram now, by the way. Is Barb still here? No, Barb slipped out the back door. Okay, but so yeah, this one got a sketchy pick. Everybody really liked that one. And I got the. Let me. I can just show you the actual drawings. Let's see here. Is that one in this one? Or I don't remember half the time which book it's in. So let me see. And I'm still. If Jay says anything else about himself, I want to relay it. You gotta get those dig those questions out of Jay. So I want to find that. I want to find that. Here she is. There she is. It's in the small book. So there she is. And she took a selfie, and so you see her hand and the window reflected in her eyes, and so I made sure to draw that. So anyway, guys, y'all did amazing. There's our Packer die. Y'all did amazing work on coloring in Amelia. Jay posted his. Okay, what was his? Yeah, let me. I think I said the name right. It was Juriaan, right, for Ustream. But you see how red her hair is? Well, that's kind of like our Darcy picture here. Darcy's hair was like that too. And all we did here is we used acrylic paint. We used acrylic paint as a base, and then did the highlights and the shadows with color pencil. And we're going to do the same thing with Darcy. We're going to use acrylic paint to get the color down, and then we're going to use pencil to shade and highlight. Now, let's see here. Let's see what else is in my big sketchbook. I never pull this one. I'm always showing this little sketchy one. Let's see. So whatever works for you guys, I just wanted to show you the grid method. Like I said, if you want to hold your thing up to a, what do you call it, a window like Jay suggested, if you don't have a light box, if you want to trace it, if you want to, whatever you want to do. But I really want you to practice the drawing part of it. Okay, so here's a couple, here's one of my daughters. This is my daughter Annie. And then I drew Denise. Where's Denise? There's my other daughter Denise. This is Boo and Cam's mama. Let's see what else is in here. Todd from Gold Rush asked me to draw him with Ronald Reagan. So there's Todd and Ronald Reagan. It's a little flashed out, guys, because of the lighting, but you can kind of see. And of course, you've seen all my Gold Rush drawings. I won't go through all those. But there's one of my dog drawings. But anyway, guys, so you can, you'll be able to color pencil if you get a good, clean drawing of Darcy. Very light and very, detailed. Take your time. Take your time. I don't know if I showed this big book very often. That's another one. It's all color pencil with acrylic you know, under paintings on, I mean, not under, there's no acrylic under painting on the faces, but like in here, this is like acrylic on my Sean Connery. This is like acrylic with shading on top, but the rest is all color pencil. But, you know, you got to take time to draw the eyes in well. And then there's my Robert Mitchum. There's a step by step of Robert Mitchum on my Facebook. If you're on Facebook, I showed a step by step of him. Um, and I also did a step by step. What was the one I just did? Um, there's also a step by step of her. Let me see if I can bring that up real quick. So if you're on Facebook and follow me, you can see step by steps of some of these. Let's see if I can bring it up real quick. And then I wanted to talk about doing the sepia tone. And let's see, let me go to my site here. And then I'm going to stop this recording and I'm going to start another one to show Happy Mail, some books, and some other things. But I wanted to keep this one just on the drawing part because I have some Happy Mail to show. All right, here's the Facebook. Let's see. Now, it's not, the color's going to flash out on you, but I'm going to show you the step by step. So here is where you're going to start there. Oh, hang on, guys. It wants to flash out under the camera light. Let's see if I can get it to, I don't know if I'm going to, you might have to just go on Facebook. There. Okay, there we go. Oh, hang on, guys. I'm trying to get it to. So after the pencil drawing, you can take your sepia and your gray and do outline. See how I've outlined everything in sepia? It's all outlined in sepia and gray. And then I started the shading in white. Then added a little bit more, starting in the eyes there. And I put the color pencils that I use when I do a step by step. I photograph it step by step. I'll try to do that with Darcy too. A step by step photograph. So you can see where I started putting gray in the nostrils, gray under the chin, gray and a little bit in her eyes there. Okay. Then I started adding more of the shadows with the gray. Okay. More sepia shading around there. Okay, then here's just more. Now I started adding the peach colors, which are not showing up on here. The peachy colors are not showing up. If you go to Facebook, you'll see them more. They're just not showing up, guys, on the camera, on the iPad. Okay, and then here is where I finished it with the, I mean, look at the difference. See how you can't tell anything on the flashed out? Okay, and that's where I finished up. And even that's flashed out because I have my camera settings on the light settings. So anyway, and then, oh, I was going to show you Robert Mitchum. I don't know if I can, it's hard to see them, guys, on let's see. Here's the two that, those are Mandy. I thought I saw on Twitter earlier, but there's Mandy's son and daughter that I did commissions for. And I did step outs for those. So let me show you. All right, let's see. It's at the beginning. I think these got kind of out of order. Okay, here we go. All right. So this is what it started as. Again, okay, I'm just showing you these are the how I do the step by steps so that you can see how I do it, you know, do these pictures. All right, so here is just a light sepia sketch. And then we went to that. And then there. And then the final one. And I know the colors are not showing up good. Okay, but I try to do a lot of step outs. Um, Oops, let me go back. Mm, let's see here. La, 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 la. Hang on, guys. I'm having to, wade through everything here. But I post pretty much everything on Facebook and now Twitter and Instagram too. Okay, and here is Mandy's son. So here again, see how stark it is? Did you remove the grid page protector? Okay, this is the page protector. I do not use this picture. Joe's asking me. I do not use this picture here to color with. I printed out. You can even print out a black and white to draw from. Okay, print out a black and white on just cheap cardstock. I will be using my iPad to draw from. You will need to either use your computer, the photo I have on my blog of Darcy, or a great photo, a great printout. The better you can see the colors, the better you're going to be able to draw it, or color it, I should say. Okay? I don't know about erasing. I'm not sure if you're talking about this. All this grid has to be erased. That's why I say to draw it with a light pencil. All that's going to have to be erased. I don't seal my, spray them with sealer, fixative, or anything. I don't feel the need to. They don't smear. The color pencil doesn't, unless, I guess I could really dig in there with my fist and get it to smear, but it's not going to smear. There's no graphite here. It's all color pencil. It's not going anywhere. I don't use any kind of liquid blending solvents either. It's all, and I don't use, although I showed it last week, I don't even know where it is right now, the little the Prismacolor blender pencil. I don't use that. It's all just blended with color pencil only. Okay, so here's Mandy's son, and I'm showing these just so y'all can see the different steps. Okay, if you want to see them better, you can go to Facebook. All right, so after you get your drawing done in graphite, thin, then you're going to go back with a sharp sepia, and you're going to draw just the main lines. Can I call you back? I'm streaming. I'll call you back. Okay, then you're going to do your sepia outlining. Or you could do, some light gray for if there's blues and like her glasses are black, then you could outline the glasses with a gray. Don't get anything black in here right now. You just want a nice light sepia outline and some gray. So that's what I use, because no matter the skin tone, if you do a light sepia, that's usually going to blend out. Okay, then we went to this where we added the white, and y'all have done all this before when you did Amelia. Okay, and then here's where we got some base color with the some more on the clothing there. More, and you can't really see the peaches in there. Maybe you could see a little bit difference from the white to some of the peach. And then here's the finished one. Again, if you really want to see them well, then either follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, because I try to post them on all of them. All right, I was looking for my Robert Mitchum. Hang on, because I did a step out on him. This girl right here, she's the one that drew that my phoenix-looking self. All right, let's see. This was a memorial portrait I did recently for a lady that passed away. I do memorial pets. I do memorial. Okay, here's Robert Mitchum. All right, so here we go. So here's just like the basic outlines, and here's where I start. The hat is, this is all paint. Is this helping anybody? Yes, you erase the grid, Joe. Yes, you do. Okay, this is all just paint, like a little bit of a base paint. And then he's just kind of barely sketched in, you can see. Okay. Well, let me see. Here's the first one. There's where he's outlined. Okay. Just using some gray and white. Started there. Then there's with the paint. And again, the colors are not showing at all. Then here's where we started adding peach and color to his eyes. Okay, and here is where we started shading in the hat and the clothes, and you can see more peach in his face, and I'm starting to put in his beard. Okay, and then here is the finished one, which is, I'm not going to find him again in here. Where are you, Robert Mitchum? So hopefully this is helpful to you as far as, all right, where is he? Oh, sorry guys, I gotta flip through. I do have a lot in these sketchbooks, and so I don't have them bookmarked or whatever, marked where everything is. Let's see. Well, where did Robert Mitchum go? The book flipped backwards, but that shouldn't matter. Well, good grief, what did I do with them? There's Annie, Denise, my gold brush guys, Spock. I'll show y'all Spock too in a minute. Okay, there he is. All right, so there we go. So there's the finished one. Well, I don't know if you really call them classes. I've been Ustreaming for almost 5 years, and you know, I hope that I'm showing something every show. But as far as like these kind of color pencils, just a couple, not many. I mean, I've done we've done a bird a few years ago. We did a rose, but and then here's my Spock. I did this as a tribute to him. I did the young Spock and then the older Spock. So anyway, okay, so there, let me quickly show again what you need to do next. Okay, after you do your grid, and like I said, I'll give y'all till next Monday. I'll probably stream again before then, but I want to give y'all plenty of time to take your time to do this. I don't want you to feel rushed at all, because if you feel rushed, it's not going to turn out. Okay, so make your grid. If y'all missed the beginning of the show, I showed how to do the grid. And you can buy grids, guys. You can probably, Michael's probably, I don't know for sure. I haven't bought one, and I probably have one around here somewhere. But you can buy grids, all right? But you can just make it with a page protector and a Sharpie and a ruler, okay? So make you a grid, tape it down over your, this could be a black and white picture. The color isn't the important thing on the drawing part. When we go to color her, you will need to either have it on your computer, your iPad, or an excellent color picture, because your colors are only going to be as good as the picture you're drawing from. You can't make this stuff up, people. You can't just make it up in your head, you know? So I'm just saying, you have to have, reference. Um, they'd probably be in the architectural section. I don't know, Carrie. I've not looked for them. I don't know. It's been years since I've, probably 30 years, 25, 30 years since I bought one, because I don't need to. You can make your own. You can make them any size, small, big. Any size. There's no real need to make them. Yeah. So then once you've drawn out your grid, and take your time. And again, I use just this cheap Papermate disposable technical sharp pencils that just roll out. Okay? Take your time. Take your time. I'm going to even draw her again so that I have some, so I can show y'all step by step. I mean, I'm not going to do it right here, but that way you can see. Um, and again, look, don't draw it with a thick pencil. I did this so that you could see it on camera. Don't do this. Do it light and thin. Light and thin. Probably Vaughn, yeah. But again, you can just, it takes 5 minutes to make one. You don't really need to go out. I mean, they're probably no telling how expensive they are to buy, but whatever you want to do. And then you still have to draw this. You still have to draw this part. I mean, the grid. You have to draw that out on your paper. And then once you have that done, then you can erase all the grid. Okay, you can erase the grid. And you're going to make your base outline with your sepia and your gray, like the sepia on the face and the hair and the gray on the glasses. Again, sharp. I cannot stress it enough. You need sharp, crisp, tiny lines, because you're gonna have to blend these out. If you get this real thick, you're gonna have to blend it out. I mean, if you get this thick, you're gonna have to go over it and blend it out, and that's harder to do the thicker and darker it is. Okay. You can, the thing is, if you do use a page protector and you slide your picture in, I've done that before, but even if you do that, make sure you tape it. Don't trust the page protector to hold it exactly in place. It'll slide up and down. You still need to tape it inside, like at the lip of the page protector or something. Don't let this move. You'll never get it exactly right again if it moves. I mean, maybe, but you don't want this to move. You want it taped down. And again, one other tip, remember, is try not to have any of the grid lines going through the middle of the eyes. You want to be able to see those details of the pupil and the iris. And if you have a grid line going through it, it's hard to see those eyes. No, not really a nomadic rose. The color pencils, um, I think it was before we did it was the first one. It was like, I think it says getting ready or something like that on YouTube. It was before the 1, 2, and 3 drawing of Amelia. There was a getting ready to draw, and I showed you some of the basic color pencils that I use. Now in this one with Darcy, we're going to be using all those same colors, but you'll probably need a couple shades of red. Again, I can't, I can't tell you the exact colors we're going to use because I'm not doing it yet. But I hate for you to go out and get a big old set of Prismacolors that are very expensive for just a few colors, and you may not even enjoy doing color pencil in the long run unless you love doing it. I mean, I try to do, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 portraits a week, and I love doing it. And if you don't love doing it, you're going to spend money. You're not. It's going to be wasted. So just try to use what you can and what you have. Look at the picture of Darcy, and like I said, Nomadic Rose. I already showed the flesh colors. So There's flesh colors for like a porcelain skin tones, like we did Amelia. Darcy's skin tones are kind of the same. They're very porcelain like. Okay, now if we were going to draw an African American, we would have many more sepias and browns. Okay, but you don't need to go out and buy a bunch of sepias and browns if we're drawing Darcy. That's a thing. I mean, you're more than welcome to go spend all the money you want on color pencils, but um, yes, Michaels does have open stock pencils available, Vaughn. The only thing I would recommend, and I tell you all this all the time, when you buy the open stock, look at the barrels and make sure the lead, I know it's not lead, I could call it the lead just for simplicity. Make sure it's centered. If it's, now this one's got paint on it, so it doesn't look centered, but let me get it like, okay, here we go. Make sure the lead is centered. If it's not centered, that's what causes breakage when you sharpen. Okay. So look at, especially, when you buy lots of blacks and whites, you go through a lot, well, really any time. Just make sure that the lead is centered. This one, here's a good example of one that's a little off. Let's see if I can get it. See how the lead is not centered in the wood? Can y'all see that? Okay. When you go to sharpen this, every time you sharpen it, it's going to break. Yeah, some of the colors are tricky to find in open stock. Now you can buy open stock from Blick and Jerry's Artorama, and I use Blick because just I like Blick. We have a local Blick, and so I use Dick Blick to buy things supplies from. But you can buy pretty much any color open stock at Blick. But you need to know what that color looks like before you buy it because you can't really tell from their little, square. So like, for instance, our blending color for the tan paper, I like to use this peach beige. If you didn't know what peach beige looks like, peach beige just you wouldn't think it would look like that color of the paper, right? Okay, so, but I do give a list of what we used for Amelia. Um, I don't have them all right here. I mean, when we go to draw, I can try to, I'll tell you the colors I'm using. I try to, for these, if you want to call them classes, I just call them demos, guys, because I don't really, I'm not a teacher. I mean, y'all know, y'all say that I'm teaching you stuff, but I'm not a teacher. So, I'm like sometimes all over the place and, I say the same thing over and over and over because I am talking to a live chat. But, I'm not a teacher. But if you can learn something, some ideas and things, some inspiration, then, I'm happy to do that. Okay. All right. So, are there any more questions? Did Jay leave? Did he? Is there? I know he's Juriaan on UStream. And so if y'all want to check him out on Saturdays, like at 8 p.m. on Saturdays, he does not record. So if you want to see Jade work, you got to be there live. Um, we're not, and again, on the acrylic paint, the only acrylic paint you're probably going to need for this is for Darcy is maybe, let me look at her here, red and white. The rest will be shading. So if you just get you a nice red, because she has bright, bright red hair. This is the color of her hair. That's the only, this color and white are the only acrylics you're gonna need. And anytime you see me talk about using acrylic paints in any of my backgrounds or anything like that, it's all craft paint. It's just Americana, $1, $1 a thing, craft paint. The reason you want a tan paper is because of the technique I'm showing you with the white pencil. If you go back and look at the one we did of Amelia, the well, even here where I showed you my step outs on Facebook here. Let me find one here. Here's Robert Mitchum. Okay. I start with the tan paper and outline my shapes. I get the shape of the face with the white pencil to start. That starts the shape of my face. We all did that with Amelia too. If you go back on my YouTube, well, you can go here too, but it's also uploaded to YouTube. You'll see step 1, 2, and 3 of how we drew Amelia, starting with the white pencil. And you have to have a tan paper. It doesn't have to be this exact paper, you know, a tan color, um, because that will start forming the shape of the face. So I think that it's just for me. I enjoy that process. I like starting on tans or gray. This one's on gray. This is tan. You know, um, here's a couple more on the gray. This one's on gray. It's just a toned paper. And Strathmore, they're not paying me or anything. Strathmore has toned tan and toned gray. This is what the covers look like of the books. Toned tan. And this one's the toned gray. So, you know, I'm so that you can follow along easily with me is why I'm just trying to telling you the supplies I'm using so that it doesn't like hamper the process. Okay. So either one, and they come in different sizes. The tone grays and the tone tans come in 5.5 by 8.5. And they also come in the 9, I think was it 9 by 12? Let me see the cover here. Yeah, 9 by 12s. Okay, so that is all that I got for you today. This is the last one I just finished was her. Okay. Okay, the other paper, all right, let me, hang on. Those y'all, don't freak out. Don't freak out. Hang on. Let me get an unopened pack here. You can buy different tan colors. They come in all different shades of tan at Michael's. This is the Recollection. This is what the package looks like. Okay. This is a Michael's. This is what the pack looks like unopened. You can buy 50 sheets. Some have different. This is just the black pack, but you can buy a cream, white, and brown, a tan pack for like $3 for 50 sheets. Okay. See, there's different shades here. Whatever you know, any of these will work. Okay. Any of these will work. All right, so what I'm going to do now, guys, I want to show some Happy Mail, some books, and a couple other things. And so I'm going to go ahead and stop this one. This one went way longer than I wanted it to, but I wanted to show y'all some examples and samples and things like that. And plus, I drew her twice, not thinking about how it was going to be dark and thick when this is really what you want to do. So I'm going to stop this recording and start another one. So if you want to stick around and see some Happy Mail and a magazine and a book I bought. And there was something, oh yeah, I got 2 happy, yeah. So anyway, if you just want to hang around for a bit to see that. So I hope, if y'all have any questions, just leave them in the comments. And let me know if there's anything else, but do this part. Okay. All right, so thanks guys for being here. Oops, sorry, I should put something there. So go to my blog and get the picture of Darcy, print it, and you can even print it in black and white on cheap printer paper to do this step. Okay, all right, so hang on guys, and thanks guys for being here. Again, leave any questions you have in the comments.